Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our third video commentary on issues that are important both to the Gulf, the Arab Gulf region, as well as to Europe. And today I would like to maybe discuss a little bit about the US decision to rethink and possibly to withdraw from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, otherwise known as the Iran nuclear deal. The reason why the United States is thinking about withdrawing from the deal is not as punishment for Europe or the European investment, and I think it's very important to highlight that fact. And it's also not strictly due to the nuclear program itself, but to a caveat inside of the nuclear program that was meant to limit the ballistics program in Iran. And Iran is not living up to its side of the deal. So even if the United States right now may seem to be the one that's agitating towards deeper conflict with Iran, the reality is that Iran has been testing ballistic missiles, and that is against the provisions inside the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. So I think it's very important that before we pass judgments on the United States decisions in relation to the Iran nuclear deal, that we also consider the fact that Iran was limited in the kind of ballistics program that it was supposed to develop and that it was supposed to be testing. Now, be that as it may, it's maybe also very important for us to realize that Iran is not a conventional actor in the Middle East or in the Arab Gulf region. They are in many ways asymmetric, both in the way that they deploy military force, but also in their military strategies. And in this way, we have to understand Iran's behavior as a reflection of the kind of doctrines that the Iranian military and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps follows. So whereas, for instance, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps and through their Al-Quds force use asymmetric violence on the battlefields of Iraq, as well as in Syria, in Yemen, and also throughout the Arab Gulf countries to try to destabilize them, like in Bahrain or in the eastern provinces of Saudi Arabia. It's also very important for us to remember that the ballistic missile program comes on the back of Iran already proving to the world that it's somehow a nuclear power. Of course, it didn't blow up a nuclear bomb like North Korea as an expression of that nuclear power, but it completed the cycles that were needed to become a nuclear actor. And it's only after 2008, once they were capable of developing and even in some cases preparing and to the point of being able to deploy these very specialized weapons called RDDs, radiological dispersion devices. We know them as briefcase bombs, very low-yielding nuclear explosion, kind of wrapped in regular TNT. We call them a dirty bomb. And essentially by 2008, Iran was able to make about 100 of these RDDs. So they are a nuclear-capable power, but we can't view them as being a nuclear-capable power in a conventional way. They will do it in a clandestine way, in an asymmetric way. And so I think it's important that we don't discount them as being, a non-nuclear actor, because that is not true. So if we put it into a perspective in which the security policy of Iran is not being dictated by its president or by the cabinet, but instead is being dictated by its main military wing of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and they have a habit of doing things undercover in a clandestine manner, then why would their nuclear program or their ballistics program be any different? And so the danger is of rewarding the Revolutionary Guard by giving them a lot more money in order to develop their clandestine operations or their ballistics program, which basically threatens the entire region. It's not a coincidence that the Houthi militias in Yemen have repeatedly attempted to bomb Mecca. They want to create a problem inside of Islam by attacking its most holy shrines. Now, this runs against the grain of nearly any logical and rational actor. And yet it's still something, and groups that are still supported by Iran, it's their ambition to attack Mecca in Saudi Arabia. And so we have to ask ourselves why. The reason is that Iran is looking for new avenues to exploit in the Middle East and in the Islamic world. And so we in Europe and in the wider Western world should not facilitate the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps simply because of the commercial opportunities there are in a stagnating marketplace. And so instead of the transatlantic relationship being strained over Iran and over the American decision to rethink the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, I think it's more responsible for the European countries to meet up with the Americans and look to ways to further isolate the Islamic Republic of Iran before it uses its clandestine operations, its ballistic missile program, in the hands of the very illiberal and not modernizing Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps before they bring the entire region into conflict. So far, the conflicts have been kind of limited to Iraq and Syria in terms of Iranian involvement. We don't know how far the Iranians are willing to go to destabilize the rest of the Gulf and Middle Eastern regions. Yemen, of course, belongs in that list as well. We do know that they are trying very hard to destabilize Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait at times, the United Arab Emirates if they got the opportunity. And so I think it's irresponsible for there to be a transatlantic schism over Iran, especially when Iran's main objective is to undermine stability in the Arab Gulf so that they can exploit that instability and gain deeper influence in the region and continue to outflank the Arab Gulf countries while becoming a Mediterranean actor as well, as they've paved the road from Tehran through to Iraq and Syria and right up to the Mediterranean Sea. This is a very gloomy prospect, and I'm aware of that. But our job here at the Eurogulf Information Center is also to provide critical analyses of the kinds of policies that are being undertaken and to reflect on them as best as we can. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue to do that. Very much look forward to engaging with you on this and other issues, and your feedback, as always, is more than welcome. Thank you.